Nebraska is a state located in the west-central United States, as one of the states of the Great Plains region. It is bounded by South Dakota to the north, with the Missouri River forming a portion of that boundary, and by Iowa and Missouri to the east. Kansas forms the southern border. In the southwestern part of Nebraska, the boundary with Colorado creates Nebraska's panhandle, with Wyoming to the west. Lincoln, situated in the southeastern part of the state, is its capital. Nebraska is known as the Cornhusker State because corn, maize, has been its top cash crop since its earliest days. The capital of Nebraska is Lincoln. It is the state's second largest city and was officially founded in 1867, the same year Nebraska achieved statehood. Lincoln is a regional hub for government, commerce, finance, arts, education, and healthcare. The city has extensive rail connections and a major airport. Key industries include grain milling, storage, meat packing, farm equipment distribution, insurance, aviation, communication technology, and medical research. The capital of Nebraska is Lincoln. It is the state's second largest city and was officially founded in 1867, the same year Nebraska achieved statehood. Lincoln is a regional hub for government, commerce, finance, arts, education, and healthcare. The city has extensive rail connections and a major airport. Key industries include grain milling, storage, meat packing, farm equipment distribution, insurance, aviation, communication technology, and medical research. Nebraska, also known as the Cornhusker State, is characterized by its unique geography and landscape. The state is divided into two main physiographic regions, the central lowlands till plains in the eastern third and the Great Plains that make up the center of the state. A distinctive feature is the Sandhills region, which covers nearly a quarter of the state. This area features sloping hills and valleys, along with numerous small lakes and lush grasses. The Missouri River drainage system is vital, with the Platte River serving as a major tributary and crucial source for irrigation. Nebraska's economy relies on outside investment and is supported by services, manufacturing, transportation, and agriculture. Although only a tenth of the workforce is employed in agriculture, Nebraska is a leading agricultural producer. Corn has historically been the top cash crop, giving Nebraska its nickname, the Cornhusker State. Other significant crops include sorghum, soybeans, hay, wheat, and dry beans. The state is also a top producer of alfalfa and Great Northern beans and produces a high amount of sugar beets and potatoes. Food processing is Nebraska's most important industrial activity. Other industrial activities include machinery and chemicals, printing and publishing, and primary and fabricated metals, along with electrical, electronic, and transportation equipment. Omaha is a major center for the American insurance industry. Tourism is also essential to Nebraska's economy, ranking third behind agriculture and manufacturing. Nebraska became the 37th state to join the United States on March 1, 1867. The U.S. acquired the territory including Nebraska in 1803 as part of the Louisiana Purchase. The Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854 created the territories of Kansas and Nebraska. By 1863, the organization of the Colorado, Dakota, and Idaho territories had reduced Nebraska to its current dimensions. In 1867, the state capital moved to Lincoln. Nebraska is a triple landlocked state in the Midwestern region of the United States. It borders South Dakota to the north, Wyoming to the west, Colorado to the southwest, Kansas to the south, and Missouri to the southeast and Iowa to the east, both across the Missouri River. Nebraska is the 16th largest state by land area, with just over 77,347 square miles, 200,330 square kilometers. As of the 2020 census, the population was 1,961,504 and was estimated to be 2,018,006 in 2025. It is the 38th most populous state and the 8th least densely populated. Nebraska's capital is Lincoln, and its most populous city is Omaha, which is on the Missouri River. Nebraska was admitted into the United States in 1867, 2 years after the end of the American Civil War. The Nebraska legislature is unlike any other American legislature in that it is unicameral, and its members are elected without any official reference to political party affiliation. Nebraska is one of only 2 states, Maine being the other, that divide electoral college votes by district, and is not winner-take-all statewide. Nebraska is composed of 2 major land regions, the dissected Till Plains and the Great Plains. The dissected Till Plains region consists of gently rolling hills and contains the state's largest cities, Omaha and Lincoln. The Great Plains region, occupying most of western Nebraska, is characterized by treeless prairie. Eastern Nebraska has a humid continental climate while western Nebraska is primarily semi-arid. The state has wide variations between winter and summer temperatures, the variations decrease in southern Nebraska. Violent thunderstorms and tornadoes occur primarily during spring and summer, and sometimes in autumn. The Chinook wind tends to warm the state significantly in the winter and early spring. Indigenous peoples, including Omaha, Missouri, Ponca, Pawnee, Oto, and various branches of the Lakota, Sioux, tribes, lived in the region for thousands of years before European discovery and exploration. The state is crossed by many historic trails, including that of the Lewis and Clark expedition. The completion of the Transcontinental Railroad through Nebraska and passage of the Homestead Acts led to rapid growth in the population of American settlers in the 1870s and 1880s and the development of a large agriculture sector for which the state is known to this day. Nebraska is a state located in the Midwestern region of the United States, occupying a central position within the country's continental geography. It is often described as part of the Great Plains, a vast expanse of grasslands that stretches across the interior of North America. The state is characterized by wide horizons, gently rolling prairies, fertile agricultural land, and river valleys that have supported human life for thousands of years. While Nebraska is frequently associated with farming and rural landscapes, its identity is far more complex, encompassing growing urban centers, diverse communities, educational institutions, technological innovation, and a deep historical legacy that connects indigenous heritage, westward expansion, and modern development. The state capital is Lincoln, while its largest city is Omaha, which functions as a major economic, transportation, and cultural hub for the region. Together, these cities reflect the dual nature of Nebraska as both an agricultural heartland and a modernizing state engaged in national and global networks of trade, education, and culture. The earliest known history of Nebraska predates European contact by thousands of years, rooted in the civilizations of indigenous peoples who adapted to the ecological conditions of the Great Plains. Long before modern state boundaries existed, the region was home to numerous Native American nations who developed complex societies shaped by seasonal migration patterns, agricultural practices, and extensive trade networks. Among these were the Omaha tribe, the Ponca tribe of Nebraska, and the Pawnee Nation, each of which maintained distinct cultural traditions, social structures, and spiritual relationships with the land. These communities cultivated crops such as corn, beans, and squash in river valleys while also engaging in hunting buffalo across the plains. Their societies were dynamic and highly adaptive, reflecting a deep understanding of environmental cycles and ecological balance. Oral traditions, ceremonial practices, and communal governance structures played central roles in sustaining these civilizations for generations. European exploration of the region began gradually during the 17th and 18th centuries, as French and Spanish explorers moved through parts of the central North American interior. However, it was not until the early 19th century that the region became more directly integrated into the expanding United States. A pivotal moment occurred with the Louisiana Purchase, through which the United States acquired vast territories from France, including the land that would become Nebraska. This acquisition fundamentally transformed the geopolitical landscape of North America and opened the region to increased exploration, mapping, and settlement. Expeditions led by Meriwether Lewis and William Clark passed near or through areas adjacent to present-day Nebraska, documenting the geography, wildlife, and indigenous nations they encountered. Their reports contributed to growing American interest in westward expansion and provided early scientific and cultural records of the region. During the 19th century, Nebraska became a crucial corridor for migration and expansion across the American frontier. The vast plains served as both a challenge and an opportunity for settlers moving westward in search of land, prosperity, and new beginnings. Major migration routes such as the Oregon Trail, the California Trail, and the Mormon Trail passed through or near Nebraska, transforming the region into a heavily traveled passageway. Along these routes, emigrants established temporary settlements, trading posts, and military forts that later evolved into permanent communities. The movement of thousands of people across the plains had profound consequences for indigenous populations, ecosystems, and the development of infrastructure. Nebraska's rivers, especially the Missouri and Platte, became vital lifelines for transportation, survival, and settlement, shaping patterns of habitation that persist to this day. The passage of the Kansas-Nebraska Act marked a significant turning point in the political organization of the region. This legislation formally created the territories of Kansas and Nebraska and allowed settlers to determine whether these territories would permit slavery, a policy known as popular sovereignty. The act intensified national tensions over slavery and contributed to the political fragmentation that eventually led to the American Civil War. Despite these conflicts, settlement in Nebraska Territory continued to increase steadily, driven by agricultural opportunity, migration, and the promise of land ownership. Towns began to emerge, infrastructure expanded, and governance structures developed to support a growing population. Nebraska achieved statehood in 1867, becoming the 37th state of the United States. This milestone marked the beginning of a new era in which political stability, economic development, and social organization became more formally established. Agriculture quickly became the dominant economic activity, supported by the region's fertile soil and favorable conditions for crop cultivation and livestock raising. Corn, wheat, and later soybeans became central crops, while cattle ranching expanded across the grasslands. The introduction of irrigation systems, mechanized farming equipment, and scientific agricultural practices significantly increased productivity over time. Nebraska's identity became closely tied to agriculture, not only as an economic foundation but also as a cultural and social framework that shaped daily life and community values. Transportation infrastructure played a critical role in the state's transformation during the late 19th century. Railroads connected rural communities to national markets, enabling the efficient movement of agricultural products and manufactured goods. The expansion of rail lines contributed to population growth and economic integration. A particularly important development was the construction of the first transcontinental railroad, which helped link the eastern and western United States and strengthened Nebraska's role as a transportation corridor. Cities like Omaha became major railroad hubs, facilitating commerce and migration. The development of highways, bridges, and later air transportation further reinforced Nebraska's strategic position in national logistics networks. Geographically, Nebraska is defined by its place within the Great Plains and its diverse natural landscapes. The state includes prairies, agricultural fields, wetlands, forests, and river systems that support a wide range of ecological communities. One of its most distinctive regions is the Sandhills, a vast area of grass-stabilized sand dunes that represents one of the largest such formations in the world. The Missouri River and the Platte River have historically served as critical waterways for transportation, agriculture, and settlement, shaping the development of towns and cities along their banks. These natural features continue to influence economic activity, environmental policy, and recreational opportunities throughout the state. Culturally, Nebraska reflects a rich mixture of indigenous heritage, European immigration, frontier history, and contemporary American life. Waves of immigrants from Germany, Scandinavia, the Czech lands, Ireland, and other regions contributed to the cultural diversity of the state during the 19th and early 20th centuries. These communities brought languages, traditions, religious practices, architectural styles, and culinary customs that became integrated into Nebraska's cultural fabric. Over time, a shared identity emerged, characterized by values such as hard work, community cooperation, resilience, and strong ties to the land. Festivals, museums, historical societies, and cultural institutions continue to preserve and celebrate this heritage. Nebraska's economic development has long been rooted in agriculture but has expanded significantly over time. While farming and ranching remain central, the state has diversified into manufacturing, finance, healthcare, education, logistics, and technology. Urban centers such as Omaha and Lincoln have become key drivers of economic growth. Omaha, in particular, has developed into a major financial center, hosting corporate headquarters, insurance companies, and logistics firms. Lincoln serves as both a political and educational center, with strong ties to government administration and research. This diversification has allowed Nebraska to maintain economic stability even during periods of agricultural volatility. The presence of the University of Nebraska system has been essential to the state's educational and research development. Higher education institutions across the state contribute to workforce training, scientific research, and technological innovation. Areas of study include agriculture, engineering, medicine, business, environmental science, and information technology. These institutions not only educate students but also serve as centers of innovation that connect academic research with practical applications in industry and public policy. Education at all levels has been a key factor in Nebraska's long-term social and economic progress. Nebraska's political system is also distinctive within the United States. It is the only state with a unicameral legislature, meaning it has a single legislative chamber rather than a bicameral system. This structure was designed to improve efficiency, transparency, and accountability in governance. The legislature is also officially nonpartisan, which distinguishes it from most other state governments. This unique political arrangement has attracted attention from scholars and policymakers interested in institutional design and democratic reform. Demographically, Nebraska has experienced gradual but significant changes over time. Historically rural and agriculturally based, the state has seen increasing urbanization, particularly around Omaha and Lincoln. At the same time, many small towns continue to play an important role in maintaining agricultural production and local culture. Population growth patterns have been influenced by economic opportunity, migration trends, and educational access. In recent decades, Nebraska has also become more diverse, with growing communities representing various cultural, ethnic, and linguistic backgrounds. The state's natural environment remains central to both its identity and its economy. Grasslands, rivers, and agricultural landscapes support biodiversity and provide essential ecosystem services. Wildlife conservation efforts aim to protect native species while balancing agricultural and industrial land use. Seasonal bird migrations, particularly of cranes along river corridors, attract researchers and tourists from around the world. Environmental stewardship has become increasingly important as Nebraska works to balance economic development with sustainability. Nebraska's climate is classified as continental, with hot summers, cold winters, and variable precipitation. Weather patterns can be extreme and unpredictable, influencing agricultural practices and daily life. Farmers and communities have developed adaptive strategies to manage droughts, floods, storms, and temperature fluctuations. Advances in meteorology, irrigation, and agricultural technology have improved resilience, but climate variability remains a significant factor in long-term planning. Tourism in Nebraska is supported by its historical sites, natural landscapes, cultural institutions, and recreational opportunities. Visitors explore museums, pioneer trails, state parks, and wildlife areas that highlight the state's history and environment. Outdoor recreation such as fishing, hunting, hiking, and camping is especially popular, reflecting the state's strong connection to its natural surroundings. Tourism contributes to local economies while also promoting awareness of Nebraska's cultural and ecological heritage. Nebraska has also produced notable individuals who have influenced literature, politics, business, science, and the arts. Among them is Willa Cather, whose literary works vividly depict life on the Great Plains and explore themes of immigration, settlement, and human resilience. Her writing remains a cornerstone of American literature and provides deep insight into the historical experience of the region. In the modern era, Nebraska continues to evolve through technological innovation, economic diversification, and cultural development. Precision agriculture, renewable energy, biotechnology, and advanced manufacturing are increasingly important sectors. Wind energy, in particular, has become a growing industry due to favorable geographic conditions. Investments in infrastructure, education, and research support ongoing development and help position the state for future challenges and opportunities. Civic engagement remains a defining feature of Nebraska's social fabric. Residents often participate actively in local governance, volunteer organizations, and community initiatives. This tradition of civic responsibility strengthens democratic processes and fosters strong community bonds. Rural and urban communities alike rely on collaboration and shared responsibility to address local needs and challenges. Healthcare and education continue to be critical areas of development. Expanding access to medical services, particularly in rural areas, is an ongoing priority supported by technological advances such as telemedicine. Educational systems from primary schools to universities play a central role in workforce development and social mobility. These institutions ensure that residents are prepared for the demands of a changing economy. Nebraska's relationship with its natural resources, particularly water and soil, is central to its sustainability. Careful management of aquifers, rivers, and farmland is necessary to ensure long-term productivity and environmental health. Conservation programs and research initiatives support efforts to preserve these resources for future generations. As Nebraska moves further into the 21st century, it continues to balance tradition with innovation. Its economy is becoming more diversified, its population more urbanized and diverse, and its industries more technologically advanced. At the same time, the state remains deeply connected to its agricultural heritage and rural identity. This duality defines Nebraska's character and contributes to its resilience in a rapidly changing world. In conclusion, Nebraska represents a unique and important part of the United States, shaped by a long history of indigenous cultures, frontier expansion, agricultural development, and modern innovation. Its landscapes, institutions, and communities reflect a story of adaptation, perseverance, and growth. From its earliest inhabitants to its present-day cities and industries, Nebraska has continually evolved while maintaining a strong sense of identity rooted in land, community, and responsibility. As it continues to develop, the state stands as a symbol of balance between past and future, tradition and progress, local identity and national significance, offering a rich example of how regions can thrive through cooperation, resilience, and continuous transformation. Thank you for watching this video.